My name's Duddy, Saddle Builds and stuff. Today's video is going to be a solo Titan build with infinite barricades featuring the Khepri's horn. This thing will make your barricades into exotic barricades. Featuring the Praxic blade with impact core for ignitions left, right and centre, loads of extra damage. And you're going to get loads of extra free damage, and it clears out spawns in a GM. These are -50 enemies. We're also going to be featuring a couple of gear set bonuses. Sage Protector, so we can get infinite class ability for our barricades, and then the 2-piece Swordmaster for exhaust at 25%. Exhausted targets deal 25% less damage to you. That with your barricades, you're going to get a nice little touch of restoration, which will enable you to stand there and face tank enemies, no problem at all. Big bosses in the GM. Like I said, this barricade is not to be sneered at. It is absolutely incredible. You can kill loads of enemies with it and do extra damage. I've got an Aurora Prismatic Emblem to give away as well, so keep an eye in the video. There will be a code. Stay tuned, I'll break the video down. So we'll start off with the Praxic blade, the lightsaber impact core. We're going to be on solo subclass, so it's going to scorch targets. So basically with this, all you need to do is do 3 attacks, and it's going to cause an ignition, and obviously that is 3 extra damage. So 3 light attacks, or 3 light attacks and a heavy if you wish, but 3 light attacks will cause an ignition. Add 2-piece Swordmaster onto there, damaging the target with a sword will also exhaust them. Exhaust targets deal 25% less damage. What's going to happen? He's going to be setting on fire, obviously. So he's sparkling, scorching, and he's also got that red thing above his head. That means he's exhausted, and you can do this to multiple targets. Now, Sol Invictus plays a big part in this. Solar ability Final Blows. Hammer of Sol impacts and defeats scorched targets, create sunspots. When you stand in that sunspot, you gain restoration, and so do your teammates, and the linger and do a bit of extra solar damage for free. Pair that up with your impact core, and you're going to spawn these quite a lot, left, right and centre. Bit of extra restoration, only ×1, but it's quite nice. Now, bearing in mind, you're also exhausting them enemies by 25%. Add in your Khepri's horn. This thing is chronically underrated on a full solar subclass. Solar Final Blows recharge your barricade while you have a solar super equipped. Casting your barricade will unleash waves of solar energy that damage and scorch targets. Combatants damaged by this and guardians defeated by these develop in a sunspot. But you get these quite a lot all of the time. In fact, look, you're going to get that sunspot there from the barricade. This is a change that they must have put in because I was spawning these without even getting kills. So you're getting that restoration all the time for you and your teammates. Obviously then you're scorching, igniting, causing more sunspots as well. It just feels really, really nice. And it is free damage, and it's a guaranteed ignition if you've got 2 or 3 more enemies next to each other. Guaranteed ignition, absolutely no problem. Now Khepri's, what happens if we could like infinitely get this going so you can get a barricade every couple of seconds? Well, add the 2-piece Sage Protector gear set. Well, this said hits, return, grenade, sword hits, return, grenade, and class ability energy. Now, the 2-piece bonus will give you loads of class ability, but if you add on Ember of Singeing with that as well, because we're going to be scorching from our Praxic blade and the barricade, you're going to get increased class ability regen. Pair these up with a Swordmaster and just watch my class ability here. It's an absolute joke. I'm getting that back every 2 seconds. Absolutely crazy. And all of them solar waves are going to cause ignitions and just do 3 extra damage for you. And I've also got 7 or 8 seconds of restoration. Add in the balanced form. Your restoration will heal you. Your balanced form will also heal you as long as you keep getting kills. Add in the Hyperblade to get amplified, which is a damage reduction as well as the exhaust. And we're going to get that bit of healing, like I said. So all these paired together with your Sol Invictus, your sunspots, really do keep you alive in hard content. Add in Ember of Solace to make your radiant restoration effects to you have increased duration. So a quick example, I'm going to show you this working in the Grandmaster as well, the -51, the EDZ. You're spawning all these sunspots everywhere, which cause extra damage. Your barricades do extra damage, ignitions left, right and centre, and you are pretty nice and tanky as well with that extra tiny bit of healing. It all really works nicely together. And like I said, just ignitions everywhere. It's crazy, crazy good. So we'll start off in the Hardest difficulty lost sector. I'm not sure, is it the master, the one that's the hardest difficulty one? I can't remember now, but ignitions there. Easy days. Couple of champs, absolutely no problem. Don't forget, ignitions are also unstop, so you're going to be able to cause unstoppable capabilities as well. Easy days. I've hardly used any ammo on my sword there. That's the barricade, doing all that extra bit of work for you. Look at that. It takes a quarter of his health off very easily, that barricade, and then all you've got to do then is just keep doing your light attacks to get that extra bit of damage and cause another ignition. A sunspot will drop here, give me that restoration. And again, they're exhausted 25% as well. You can use the gyro core as well as the hyper blade if you want to get extra healing from throwing the blade. But I found this perfectly fine as it is. So obviously I'll step the content up. We'll just finish this last sector here. Obviously I like to test it out in the GM, because if it works in there, it'll work pretty much anywhere. And I know there's a lot of builds, a lot of stronghold builds of stuff like that. I just wanted to give you a different option if you ever want to save some ammo on your blade and just use your barricades for damage and get that extra bit of healing. Perfect here again. I've had one barricade there, and I've already gone off a barricade by the time I get to the next lot of ads. Really, really strong. Look, bang my barricade down, killed about 3 or 4 enemies there, and I've got another barricade back again. There, look at that, another barricade back. All that extra damage for Nightfall, basically. I'll quickly go over my fragments and aspects before I show you the GM. Sol Invictus, what we touched on. Consecration, I run this one. I don't really have a high melee stat, but it's still not bad, just to cause a quick sunspot, just for that extra healing if needed. It's decent against some low tier ads. Thermite Grenade, I like to run this one because it pairs nicely with a barricade. You're going to have 2 waves, but you could also run any grenade, and you can even run a healing grenade if you wish. It's up to you. I like Thermite because it works nicely with the Khepris. Ember of Singeing, which we've touched on. Really nice, this one. You're going to be scorching everything all the time. Ember of Solace. You could change this one if you wish. I like to have that extra 7 or 8 seconds. Ember of Ashes. You're going to apply more scorch stacks to targets. Ember of Char to make our ignitions spread scorch. This is what's going to cause them multiple ignitions that you've seen. And then Ember of Eruption to have an increased area of effect. Like I said, my stats are built into grenade. You could very easily build into melee damage and run consecration. High weapons start as possible, just so you can do that extra damage and keep your ammo nicely filled up. There's my mods. Now I'll get to the build working in the GM now, the EDZ. Battleground -50 as always. I always like to test these builds out in a -50, and it's just an absolute joke. I've said it like 2 or 3 times, but this is just like literally 3 extra damage, and all that scorching and the ignitions really can tell in the GM. The super, guys, I'm not going to lie, the super's pretty bad on the Titans, as we know, even with Pyrogales, even if you run the Burning Maul super. However, I found it okay just to create sunspots for me and my teammates in difficult situations. And here we go, you're going to see that restoration working inside of this blight now. And that restoration is there for me and my teammates. Now, you can't do this without any type of healing. You will get wrecked inside of that blight, especially when all them caltrops are there on top of the blight damage as well. What I'm going to do is just show you me putting my barricade down. That's it, putting it down, and it's going to clear out spawns. The Ember of Char and Eruption and Ashes all working together nicely to clear out multiple spawns in a GM. And I ain't even using any ammo, no weapons needed. Just place that Khepri's Horn barricade down, and you're going to kill 60-70% of that spawn with all the ignitions. And it's one of these builds, again, with ignitions. You're probably not going to see them if you go do like a patrol or a low activity. If you get into a hard activity where the enemies are a bit tanky, especially ones with shields, that's where you're going to see the most out of this burning barricade. Your ignitions, a bit like my video that I did earlier on in the season. When we first got the Burning Ambition perk, it got rid off that perk because it's not very good, blah, blah, blah. But it actually is really good. You just need to build into it. And it is literally just 3 damage. And it does really work in hard content. I just want to state that one more time. If you go use this in low content, you're probably not going to get the best out of the ignitions and Khepris, all working nicely together. I don't need to go on too much about the Praxic blade because we know how good it is with that impact core, especially on solar. Just 3 damage. It's probably the highest damage one, I think, on solar, the impact core. And again, I've got a few clips at the end. Now, this particular clip, I've got my resto ×1. And again, I know that doesn't sound a lot, but it really, really is. It's just a nice little top-up. And I'm also running that 2-piece Swordmaster, so I'm actually exhausting the enemy by 25% and getting that restoration on top of it at the same time. It just feels really, really nice. And then, obviously, then I've got that Sage Armor working in the background as well in the Ember of Singeing, which is enabling me to keep spamming that class ability down all of the time. So much free damage, really chronically underrated helmet, all on Warlock. I know it's been covered quite a lot on Prismatic and things like that, but if you go all solo, it is absolutely nuts. Just a few more little clips now of the GM getting finished and me killing somebody which is outside the safety bubble, where you get the healing. You don't get much healing outside of that. So that's the video. I'll leave a dim link as always. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.